Okay, so I just discovered this. This is really interesting, and it goes to show why Tulsi is so important, to be in Congress and everything. But so she introduced a resolution yesterday, which she didn't, talk about. This is not the 9/11 one, okay? This is something different. So it's Congress Resolution 70. And the summary is directing the president pursuant to Section 5C of the War Powers Resolution to remove United States armed forces from hostilities in the Syrian Arab Republic that have not been authorized by Congress. So this is pretty amazing. Because again, we had the Yemen bill, right, to remove United States armed forces from Yemen, but this is actually for Syria. So let's see which presidential candidate would actually get on board with this, because I can guarantee you they would not. It's really only Tulsi. She's our only one, right? So I wanted to go through it because I read this and I was just, amazed, and it's really heartwarming to have someone in Congress that has this kind of in-depth understanding and who proposes resolutions like this. And I can't wait to see how there's probably going to be like 0 co-sponsors to this, but regardless. So Section 1 is removal of the United States armed forces from hostilities in the Syrian Arab Republic that have not been authorized by Congress. And it says Congress finds the following. 1, Congress has the sole power to declare war under Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, and Congress has not declared war with respect to or provided any specific statutory authorization for United States military participation in any activity related to securing, guarding, possessing, profiting off of, or developing oil fields in northern Syria. All of these actions are unconstitutional, right? So this is pretty amazing because she goes on to quote Donald Trump. We just saw Assad today say that Trump is the best president because he's the most honest and most transparent, right? Because he said we're there to secure the oil. So she quotes him directly saying, on October 27, 2019, Donald Trump stated regarding Syria that we are leaving soldiers to secure the oil. Now we may have to fight for the oil, which is we've always been there for that, but that's okay. Maybe somebody else wants the oil, in which case they have a hell of a fight, and that it can help us because we should be able to take some also. And what I intend to do perhaps is make a deal with ExxonMobil or one of our 4 great companies to go in there and do it properly. Right now, it's not big. It's big oil underground, but it's not big oil up top. So then the 4th point, the Secretary of Defense Mark Esper stated on October 28th, 2019, the day after Trump said this, regarding oil in Syria, that U.S. troops will remain positioned in this strategic area to deny ISIS those vital resources. And we will respond with overwhelming military force against any group that threatens the safety of our forces there. Secretary Esper confirmed that this includes denying access to the oil from Syrian and Russian forces. So they're making it seem like it's, oh, we're just denying ISIS. No, this has always been about securing the oil, not necessarily, I mean, in this case, Trump wants to profit off of the oil, but our whole goal was just to make sure that Syrians do not have oil so that they continue to suffer. And obviously that humanitarian crisis is just worsening with everything, with every move that we've made in that region. And this is probably the most important part here that she says. Point number 5, oil, natural resources, and land in Syria belong to the Syrian people, not the United States. That's a very powerful line. And this is someone who has been smeared by people, on the left who think that she's some kind of isolationist and nationalist who only cares about, American lives, who only cares about US, that's it. She does, she was criticized for her response to, are you an anti-imperialist? This is her action. This is her action of saying, this is the Syrian people's land, their resources, their oil. We have no right to be taking that and to be staying there and to be, to remain, to have our troops remaining there. It's not our business. It's not our right to do that. So this is really, really powerful. And it continues, as always, it just progresses as this goes on. It continues to be such a powerful resolution. She says, depriving the Syrian people from the economic benefit of their natural resources will inhibit them from rebuilding their country. It is not humane or in the national security interests of the United States for the Syrian Arab Republic to be an unstable or failed state. An unstable or failed Syrian state further proliferates the presence of terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda and ISIS in Syria, and significantly deteriorates the humanitarian condition of the Syrian people. So again, we're there for humanitarian reasons. We care so much about them. And this is also important for our national security, we're told, right? But it's not, it's the exact opposite. We're literally hurting them by literally taking their resources away from them and making it so that they continue to starve, making them more vulnerable to potential regime change in the region, which we've been wanting for over 50 years now. And obviously we started our real regime change efforts in terms of arming terrorists in 2011, but we've been wanting regime change in Syria for a very long time now. And this is really important that she is highlighting the fact that we're literally depriving them of their own resources that belong to only them. They do not belong to the United States. It's not our job. And again, this is just pointing out the hypocrisy of this humanitarian war that we're waging there. And then there are two more sections. Well, there's one regarding the first section, which is removing the troops there. So it says Section 8C of the War Powers Resolution defines the introduction of the United States Armed Forces to include the assignment of members of such armed forces to command, coordinate, participate in the movement of, or accompany the regular or irregular military forces of any foreign country or government when such military forces are engaged or there exists an imminent threat that such forces become engaged in hostilities. And then the final part of this resolution is removal of armed forces. Pursuant to Section 5C of the War Powers Resolution, Congress hereby directs the President to remove the United States Armed Forces from hostilities in the Syrian Arab Republic, except United States Armed Forces engaged in operations authorized under the Authorization for Use of Military Force, not later than 30 days after the date of the adoption of this concurrent resolution, unless and until a declaration of war or specific authorization for such use of United States Armed Forces have been enacted into law. So, in other words, troops cannot remain in that region that were not. There's no congressional approval for them to be in for them to be in the region to secure the oil interests. They've only been authorized under the AUMF to be there for counterterrorism purposes, but they have not been. There's been zero congressional approval for them to just be there, just to hog, the resources from the Syrian people. So this is a really, really important resolution. And my only concern would be then, in terms of the AUMF, I know that the Senate bill of the Yemen resolution that used the War Powers Resolution, that was an issue with it, that it was a loophole because it would allow US troops to remain there to fight against Al-Qaeda. So that could be just an excuse where we say, oh, well, there's a threat here, so we have to keep troops anyways. That was the issue with the Senate resolution. That was not an issue with the House resolution. But I think the purpose of this is just to focus on the fact that Trump literally admitted the reason why we're keeping troops in Syria, why he's not withdrawing troops from Syria that have not been authorized to be there. So I just wanted to cover this because she introduced this again yesterday. And she is the lone sponsor of this bill. So far, there are 0 co-sponsors. Same with her 9/11 resolution, which was introduced 2 days ago. So I do hope to see a couple of people co-sponsor this. Again, it doesn't matter what people think about Assad, what other members of Congress think about Assad. This is the most resistance kind of action you can do against Trump, because he said something that's admitting why we're there, and she's actually resisting him in an effective manner that benefits the Syrian people, benefits US troops who are staying there for no reason other than to deprive Syrian people of their own resources that belong to only them and not the United States. So I just thought this was a really amazing resolution. And I do hope that she speaks about it, because I was personally really offended to see someone like Lindsey Graham go on Fox News and just admit, Fox Business as always, where they just admit the real reason. And he said, you know, we are there to secure the oil. And they also even admitted that this is also for Israel as well. So I wanted to hear a statement from Tulsi herself as soon as that came out, just as she had done with John Bolton. But Tulsi did that, but way better, because she actually introduced a resolution that makes it so that it's not just her making a statement about what Trump said, but it's also just every single member of Congress. You're going to see people who are not going to co-sponsor this, and you will know what their goal is, because if you have a resolution like this that makes it so clear, look at why we're there. Look at why look at this quote that I have right here, why we're actually in Syria, and tell me that we actually need to stay there. So that's it. That's what I wanted to say. So please read this resolution for yourself, because it's really amazing. But yeah, I just wanted to wrap that up. All right.